A very good afternoon. This is lunchtime news here on TV1. For the news first team, I am Rochelle Tumondra. Now, before we head into your stories in detail, let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Five passengers dead after a tree crushes a bus in Kolpiti. Two more accidents in Kuliapitiya and Kajugama. 35 people hospitalized. Supreme Court rules the removal of Nazir Ahmed from the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress. Showery conditions continue. Kokmaduwa interchange off the Southern Expressway inundated. Debate on EPF heats up Parliament.
Parliament suspended for 10 minutes.
A drone attack on a Syrian military academy kills at least 100.
Now on to a top story this afternoon. 5 people have died in the accident that was reported when a tree fell onto a bus near Liberty roundabout along Duplication Road in Kolpiti.
The bus was travelling from Matugama from Colombo Fort via Denyaya. CCTV footage showed that the tree fell onto the bus when it stopped on the Duplication Road around 6:05 a.m. today.
සද්දයක් ඇහුණා අපි හිතුවේ මොකක් හරි ඇක්සිඩන්ට් එකක් කියලා. එතකොට තමයි ගහ කඩන් ගන්නට මේකක් තිබ්බේ. හුණගක්වත් මොකුත් තිබ්බේ නෑ. එකපාරම තමයි ගහ කඩන් ගන්නලා. කොහොම 8 දෙනෙක් තමයි අනිත් කට්ටිය කොහොම හරි බහගත්තා. 8 දෙනෙක් තමයි සම්පූර්ණව හිර වෙලා හිටියේ.
Police and relief teams carried out a rescue operation to free those trapped in the bus. Seven people who sustained injuries are receiving treatment in the hospital.
Now, 2 more accidents took place today in Kuliapitiya and in Kajugama, Gampaha.
A bus and a container collided in the Kajugama area on the Colombo Kandy main road this morning. A bus travelling from Ampara to Colombo and a container travelling from Colombo to Kandy were involved in the accident. Later, a fuel bowser that arrived from behind the bus also collided. 14 people were injured and admitted to the Watupitiala base hospital following the accident. Our correspondent reported that one person was transferred to the Colombo National Hospital. Meanwhile, another collision took place between a Sri Lanka Transport Board bus and a bus transporting school children in Karantippala along the Kuliapitiya-Hettipola road on Friday the 6th morning. The SLTB bus was travelling from Panduwasnuvara to Colombo. The accident occurred when the school bus carrying students was driving to a side road. News First correspondent reported 45 injured school students and 20 other people have been admitted to Kuliapitiya Teaching Hospital.
Now on more local news, the Supreme Court determined today that the impulsion of Nazir Ahmed from the party membership is a valid and legal decision. The petition that was submitted by Nazir Ahmed challenging the letter sent to the Supreme Court by the National General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Nazir Karyappa, requesting the court to remove him from the party was rejected by the Supreme Court today.
As a secretary of the SLMC, letter expelling Nazir Ahmed was held valid and he loses his MP post, so he'll be losing his ministerial post. This is a historical judgment. This is a warning to any member of parliament who wanted to cross over for the purpose of obtaining ministerial portfolio.
The Supreme Court just delivered a judgment against Honorable Nazir Ahmed, who was a member of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, and Sri Lanka Muslim Congress had removed him from party membership for violating party discipline. He filed an application in the Supreme Court in terms of the Constitution to have that decision overturned. After arguments, the three judges who constituted the bench have unanimously held that the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress's decision to expel Nazir Ahmad is valid, and therefore he loses his parliamentary seat forthwith. This is a historic judgment in the sense that we've seen in the last several years, 20-25 years, several MPs who crossed over to other parties have remained MPs because they've come to court and got judgments that their expulsion was invalid. After a long time, this is the first case that has gone the other way, holding that if you violate party discipline and cross over, then you lose your parliamentary seat. And in the circumstances of this particular case, they have also held that a formal hearing to him was not necessary. So in that sense, this is a very important judgment that the Supreme Court has just delivered.
Toronto weather update. District head of the National Building Research Organisation, C.S. Manikpura, says there is a risk of further flow of debris following the landslide in Thannapita Kanda in Dialape area of Mathura Akrasa.
108 people from 31 families were evacuated from Thannapita Kanda following yesterday's landslide. The Disaster Management Centre says concessions are being distributed for the families affected by the landslide. Measures that are being taken regarding the affected families will be discussed at the meeting chaired by the Governor of the Southern Province, Willie Gamage, which is to be held today. The Disaster Management Centre said as the families were evacuated, fatalities were prevented. Locals said that following the first landslide, the mountain collapsed 2 more times. The Disaster Management Centre had informed the people of several other houses to evacuate this morning, paying attention to the direction of water flow from the mountain. 15 houses were severely damaged owing to the landslide yesterday afternoon. Mathura District Disaster Management Assistant Director Lieutenant Colonel Aryavansa Kandambi requests the public not to visit the location. Those affected by the landslide in the area are currently taking shelter temporarily at the Dialape Junior School. According to our correspondent, 108 people from 31 families in the village are taking shelter. The group includes children who are preparing for the scholarship exam. The Akrasa Divisional Secretariat and the Mathura District Disaster Management Centre are currently providing food for the families.
The Irrigation Department warns that the flood situation in the low-lying areas of the Nilwala River could intensify further today. SPC Sugishwara of the Irrigation Department said attention must be paid to this matter immediately. The Disaster Management Centre stated that there is still water in Kamrupitia, Malimbada, Tihagoda, Athurulia and Akrasa Divisional Secretariats. Assistant Director of the Mathura District Disaster Management Centre, Lieutenant Colonel Aryavansa Kandambi, said that the water levels in the Palatugama water gauge is currently at 6.5 meters. The water levels in the Nilwala River is at 6 meters. SPC Sugishwara of the Irrigation Department says area residents must remain vigilant as a water levels of the low-lying areas of the Nilwala River could increase further today. Meanwhile, vehicular movement in the Konko-Madua interchange of the Southern Expressway was disrupted today as the area was inundated. The Department of Irrigation said a study was launched to assess if the salinity barrier across the Nilwala River, which has led to a much controversy, has in effect affected the water levels receding following floods. The preparation and development of the salinity barrier of the Nilwala River has been discussed by the Sectoral Oversight Committee on Food Security and Agriculture. A decision has been reached to summon all relevant parties before the committee on a future date to reach a final decision in this regard. The salinity barrier project, which was proposed in 2003, commenced in 2012 and was completed in 2022. Its primary purpose was to prevent salt water from entering the river and causing a drinking water crisis. All schools in the Matha district will remain closed on Friday the 6th as well due to the floods.
News first with the people.
Parliamentary sessions were tensed up this morning due to a question raised by parliamentarian Gewithu Kumarathunga regarding the EPF. Parliamentary sessions were delayed by 10 minutes.
I raised this question 2 months ago. I asked the interest rate of the EPF.
EPF අරමුදලට ගෙවපු මේ ඒකේ තියෙන අරමුදලට ගෙවපු පොලි ප්‍රතිශතය කීයද?
Honourable member, the question has been asked. Let the leader of the House answer. Honourable member, let the leader of the House answer.
2 months. I request for 2 months.
Thank you.
වරප්‍රසාද ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
This is not a
ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහවම කල් ගන්න ඇමතිවරයාට අවසරය තියෙනවා.
The minister is allowed to take time to answer a question. MP Gewithu Kumarathunga took some time and asked this question. The state finance minister is also here. Aren't you ashamed that you are going to delay answering this even with the presence of the state finance minister?
කල්ගත්ත ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආයි සද්දක කල් දාන්න කියලා මොනතරම් සදාචාරයක් නැද්ද මුදල් රාජ්‍ය මන්ත්‍රීතුමත් ඉඳිද්දි.
එම ආයතන විසින් ඒ තොරතුරු සැපීම.
Those institutions take time to provide an answer. We have the right to take time to answer according to the parliament's law.
අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ නීති අනුව ඒ කල් ගැනීම තමයි කළේ.
IMF එකත් එක්ක negotiations වලට සාකච්ඡාවලට
When going for negotiations and reaching an agreement with the IMF, we must be aware of all the information prior to reaching the agreement. No other country that went to the IMF meddled with the funds of the working people or pension funds. This is a government that looted the savings of the working people. After doing so, they are saying they don't have data and they need several months to provide the data. What is this joke? The opposition stands up for the people of this country. The government doesn't have a mandate to provide concessions to billionaires arbitrarily and burden the common public.
මොනවද මේ විහිළුව? මම කියනවා පැහැදිලිව අපි හැමෝම මේ විපක්ෂයේ නැගී සිටිනවා මේ රටේ වැඩ කරන ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන්. මේ රටේ සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන්. එහෙම මේ ආණ්ඩුවට ඕන විදියට සුපිරි කෝටිපතියන්ට සහන දෙන්නයි ඒ අයව දිව්‍ය ලෝකයට යවන්නයි අනෙකුත් පොදු ජනතාව පරලොව යවන්නයි එහෙම වරමක් නැහැ මේ ආණ්ඩුවට.
State Minister of Finance Ranjin Sebalapitiya says that the government has a legal obligation to pay close attention to the budget proposals this year since an office for budget proposals has been established.
අයවැය කාර්යාලයක් මේ වෙනකොට ආරම්භ කරලා තියෙනවා. නීති අනුකූල. එහි ප්‍රධානම කාරණාව තමයි
A budget office has been legally established. Its main task is to ensure budget proposal activities are accurately conducted and if there are any obstacles for it to identify them. Therefore, the government is now legally bound to pay closer attention than usual to the proposals of the upcoming budget.
එකනේ යෝජනාවන් පිළිබඳව යොමු කරන්න නීති අනුකූලවම රජයට සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Day 30 of the second leg of the LOLC Divisavya program got underway centering schools in the Bulagala education zone of the Polonnaruwa district.
In the first leg of the LOLC Divisavya program, school books and stationery items were provided to over 1,000 schools with less than 50 students. The second leg of the LOLC Divisavya program is providing school books and stationery items to schools with less than 100 students. Students are being provided school books and stationery for a period of 1 year under the program. This World Initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC Group and the Ministry of Education. Students from schools including Dalukana Primary School, Kudaveva Primary School, Galtalava Primary School, Ranketkama Primary School, Mivatpura Primary School and Mudun Kadavala Primary School were gifted school books and stationery items this morning. School books and stationery items were also gifted to students at the Dimbulagala Zonal Education Office. The LOLC Divisavya program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
Now shifting your attention to news overseas, a drone attack on the Syrian military academy in the city of Homs has killed at least 100 people and left dozens injured.
The explosive-laden drones targeted a graduation ceremony attended by cadets' families and women and children were among the dead. The army blamed, quote, terrorist groups backed by unknown international forces, end quote. There is no immediate claim from the rebels and jihadists battling the government in the country's civil war. The drone attack is believed to have been launched from the opposition-held areas northwest of Homs. Later, first responders from the White Helmets reported that 5 civilians have been killed in intense government artillery and mission strikes in several cities, towns and villages in the opposition stronghold of Idlib province. A Syrian state news agency quoted a statement from the General Command of the Armed Forces as saying that several drones carrying explosives targeted the Homs Military Academy just after the afternoon graduation ceremony had ended. The statement said the Armed Forces, quote, considers this act an unprecedented criminal one and affirms that it will respond with full force and determination to these terrorist groups wherever they are, end quote.
Now, the Pentagon said the United States on Thursday shot down an armed Turkish drone that was operating near its troops in Syria, the first time Washington has brought down an aircraft of NATO ally Turkey.
A Turkish defense ministry official said the drone that has shot down did not belong to the Turkish armed forces but did not say whose property it was. A Turkish security source said on Thursday Turkey's National Intelligence Agency carried out strikes in Syria against Kurdish militant targets after a bomb attack in Ankara last weekend. Foreign media reports the Turkish defense ministry said on Thursday night Turkish military airstrikes destroyed 30 Kurdish militant targets in northern Syria, including an oil well, a storage facility and shelters, and neutralized many militants. Pentagon spokesperson said Turkish drones had been seen carrying out airstrikes in Hasaka, Syria on Thursday morning, about 1 kilometer away from US troops. A few hours later, a Turkish drone came within less than a half a kilometer of US troops and was deemed a threat and shot down by F-16 aircraft.
The second match of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup will be held today. The match is between Pakistan and Netherlands. The MTV-MBC network are all set to bring the action from the Cricket World Cup to its viewers and listeners, holding both the local TV and radio rights for the tournament.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
The match will be held at the Rajiv Gandhi International Cricket Stadium in Hyderabad, India. Pakistan, captained by Babar Azam, is currently placed second place in the ICC ODI rankings. Pakistan's Naseem Shah will not take part in the tournament. The batting order of Pakistan will consist of Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, Imamul Haq and Fakhar Zaman. Netherlands will be entering the field under the captaincy of Scott Edwards. The Netherlands squad will consist of Max Odoud, Logan van Beek and Wesley Baresi. Pakistan and Netherlands have faced each other in 6 instances in the international cricket arena. The match will start at 2 p.m. Sri Lanka time. The MTV-MBC network are all set to bring the action from the Cricket World Cup to its viewers and listeners, holding both the local TV and radio rights of the tournament. Viewers can also watch the match by visiting www.sirasatv.lk.
And that's a wrap of your lunchtime news. For the News First team, I've been Rochelle Tumodera. For more news stories and for more of the very latest, log on to www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you and have a nice day.